Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
Bitcoin 39,900 now, under the 40,000 mark. Ethereum down to 2,700 plus. XRP still holding on to the number 6 spot at 83 cents. We're up 7.11% on the 24-hour and 7.58 on the 7-day. That ought to tell you something right there. The range of price is 76 cents on the low end and 83 on the top. Let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. The news this morning is 208.6 million XRP shoveled by Coinbase. And the rumors are really persisting at this point that we could be on the verge of some kind of a relist from Coinbase in the near term. We don't know, and the article doesn't really suggest that that is the case. However, it does say here, crypto tracking bot Whale Alert has spotted several large transactions moving XRP crypto exchanges. One of them was US-based publicly traded platform Coinbase, as it has shifted a large amount of Ripple affiliated coins. Some XRP supporters begin to speculate on the possibility of a relisting. 89 million XRP moved by Coinbase, and this goes along with a total of 208.6, of some of which were considered to be used for ODL transactions, as we know is a big part of that, right? So we'll keep an eye on it. Take a look at this, because we've got a lot to go over, and I don't want this video to go too long. So the Federal Reserve officials will not be able to trade stocks, bonds, and cryptocurrencies as of May 1st. Yeah, put your hands down. If this doesn't extend to Congress and all politicians, it's a half measure. Is it good? Yeah, but it's only half as good as it really needs to be. The Fed's Lael Brainard hints at U.S. playing a lead role in development of the CBDCs. Well, you better. You better. Right? I certainly believe that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of. You're going to see the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, the government collectively, along with the Federal Reserve, which is not a branch of the government, by the way, wink, wink. And I think we're going to see them come out in a surprising moment at some point, whenever they decide that is, and show us that they are ready to be the leader in the fourth industrial revolution, which is blockchain and digital assets. Looking right here, this is something to note. 4 members of Wyoming legislature have sponsored a bill that would allow state treasurer to issue a stable coin. And you say on yourself, on the surface, great, okay, what am I supposed to make of that? Well, actually, I want to remind you of something. Remember this? Remember when Ripple is now registered as a Wyoming business? Yes, that's right. They filed for a business license 1 year ago. In fact, damn near to the day. Why do I show you that? Because another company did that too. What was it? Oh, that's right. Kraken. Yeah. And they were given a Wyoming State Banking Board granted crypto exchange Kraken a charter to operate as a crypto-friendly bank. They also gave the green light to Avanti too. So you have to wonder if that registering for a business license in Wyoming And the combination of this case and a possible outcome may have Ripple becoming a bank and getting that charter, at least on a state level, in Wyoming. Take a look here, because this is Eleanor Tarrant, who said a source close to her at the SEC told her in regards to the latest motion whether it is Hinman's personal opinion or that of the corporate financial division in the SEC. It doesn't really matter, they said to her. They were views expressed by the staff with a disclaimer, meaning they were not voted on and adopted by the SEC. Listen to the arrogance of that person who is talking to Eleanor Tarrant. And shout out to Eleanor Tarrant for being able to get this information. I say here, oh, that's how we want to play it, to John Deaton, to Jeremy Hogan. So the opinions don't matter because they were not voted on. Okay, then let's play it that way. Then let's talk about why Hinman publicly shared his opinion, putting him in violation of Title V, that you shall not profit from your public position in a private in the private sector. Yeah, let's have that talk then. And let's see how arrogant those people want to be once we start having that talk. Speaking of talks, two legal memos unsealed proves Ripple XRP does not constitute a security. Come on in. This right here is shared originally by James K. Filan. Shout out to you, my friend. I really appreciate all that you do for all of us. It is amazing. Breaking below are the two legal memos. Well, I'll tell you this. This is not a sentence you'll hear me say very often, but I did read through all of this, and it's not opening, but you don't trust me. It opens, and it is an enormous breakdown of every possible consideration of what could happen with these, what they call Ripple credits, inside of this evaluation, so you're not confused with the terminology. But no one sums it up better here than James K. Filan, and he says, overall favorable to Ripple and the individual defendants. Both memos are from Perkins Coie, and by the way, very quickly, nothing in them suggests any support to the SEC. It shows due diligence to the nth degree on the behalf of Ripple and what they wanted to find out, and it really supports everything that Ripple has done. Let me keep reading. The first memo was prepared in February 2012 and sent to Jed McCaleb and Jesse Powell, we know as with Kraken. It says that if new coin is sold in what now would look like an ICO, two, it didn't say, he says, I didn't see the term ICO used, and I didn't either. It would be likely that it would be considered a security, but Ripple then revised its business plan and went back to Perkins Coie, which issued a second memo in October 2012. This second memo was sent to Chris Larson and Jed McCaleb. Number 3 here says the October memo was more positive, and while it said that there was a small risk that the SEC could disagree, Perkins Coie concluded that Ripple credits should not be considered securities. They're talking about XRP at that time in the early days. The memo also suggested steps Ripple could take to minimize that risk that the SEC would disagree with Perkins Coie. The memos covered the full landscape of all legal issues, not just the issue of securities, and I think show how careful Ripple was trying to be. Also, this was 5 years before the SEC really even started talking about digital tokens. It seems to me that Ripple was being very proactive, which is very important. There certainly is nothing in these memos that suggests that Ripple was being reckless or ignored any substantial risk. In fact, the memos suggest the opposite, that Ripple was being careful. And that's exactly what I got from it. And I feel better knowing that as a layman, that this attorney, seasoned veteran here, feels the same exact way. I couldn't find anything, because I look at these things and say to myself, okay, let me imagine that I'm the SEC. What can I find that works for us, right? Just to try to find the bad and realize what you have to deal with in something. And you know what? I couldn't find it. I just couldn't find it. What I saw was an objective overview of Ripple's XRP, which they call Ripple credits. And basically every way that you could look at this thing, they looked at it. And they didn't find that it was a security. And obviously, just like he had said here, they even showed ways that you could minimize the small degree that someone would even try. Take a look right here, because Stuart Alderati and Brad Garlinghouse got something to say about the unsealed memos here. The conclusion of these now public 2012 memos is clear. XRP do not constitute securities. Come on in. Yeah, and if you go into this, I said the truth shall set you free. He also says the fact that Ripple had the foresight to seek legal advice from a prominent firm in 2012 in the absence of clear case law and 5 years before the SEC even started talking about digital assets should be applauded, and absolutely right. Then we hear here, this is, what is this right here I got here? 1 second. I think this might be out of order what I wanted here. Let's see. Brad Garlinghouse, that's what I wanted right here. Let's go here first. The truth is out for everyone to read. What we see is that the SEC waited 8 years to decide they disagreed with this analysis, decimating thousands and thousands of XRP holders who they purport to protect. In the process, so much for being mission-driven. Well said. Both of these gentlemen just absolutely nailed it. Now, let's take a look here, because now let's talk about what happens if Ripple has a settlement, right? The case is getting stronger for Ripple, that they're really getting the wind behind their sails here more and more. So what happens if we have a settlement? Well, we've got from Link 2, we have Ray Fuentes, Joe Endoso, and Nick Purifato speaking with John Deaton here. Listen to what he says, and listen to what could happen to the valuation of this company, which is currently being valued at half its value at $7.9 billion, which is a $15 billion valuation for Ripple. And that means Ripple's on sale on Link 2. Listen to this clip here.
That there's there's gonna be no issue with Ripple going public. I think it's going to be very fast. Certainly within a year. I wouldn't be surprised if they go public within 6 months of clarity or settlement.
Gotcha. Wow, that would be great.
And I think, I mean, think about it. I know I'm not a spokesperson for Link 2 or anything, but I think that on your guys' platform, you have them valued at what? Like
7.9.
7, 8, something like that?
Yeah, 7.9, and the current valuation out there is what, Ray? 15 billion?
15 billion.
All right,
Yeah.
so you guys have them valued at half, but I always look at like, all right, if there's 53 billion XRP, and let's say the fair value of XRP is $2,
Right.
just pick a conservative number,
Right.
$2. Well, that gives you a over 100 billion, valuation without the software and without the banking relationship.
I know, it's amazing. It's really mind blowing, John, when you put it that way. And I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that. That treasury of XRP, when it's properly valued and there's real price discovery, is going to be mind blowing. And I agree with you 100% on it.
And I agree with both of those gentlemen 100%, and I thank them both for being there and having that conversation, because that is something to really consider. Obviously, a link for all of that stuff in the description and comment box. And right here, we're going to have Chris Giancarlo talk about XRP with Charles Gasparino here. Let me get this fired up, because this is going to be a run, and I'm going to let this go for a minute because I want you to hear what's said here. Remember, Chris Giancarlo works for a law firm that also works to represent Ripple. He actually, full disclosure, he actually wrote an incredible dissertation breaking down against the Howey test how XRP was in fact a currency, not a security. Take a listen to this clip here.
Let's unpack this a little bit. Gary Gensler has consistently sidestepped the question if XRP is a security, because remember, they did some of the similar things they did on Ether, which is sell the token to help build out their platform, thus making an investment in the SEC's view, obviously not your view. Then why isn't Ether a security? Because they did an ICO to help out help at some point build the Ethereum blockchain. So I guess my question to you, Chris, is if the SEC wins this case, does Gensler have to go back in time and basically consider Ether a security and ding the Ethereum people?
Well, it's the right question to ask, Charlie, and in my book, I talk about our analysis and our work with the SEC back in 2019 when I was chair of the CFTC and Jay Clayton was at the SEC, and our work looking at Ethereum. And it was the Ethereum precedent that we looked at in 2020 after I left the commission, in coming to the conclusion that XRP is not a security. So,
now, I find that statement quite interesting right there, because, was that collectively an opinion he had with Jay, or was that just his opinion while he was at the CFTC at the time? Remember, Chris Giancarlo talked about after his time at the CFTC how they introduced futures on top of Bitcoin to pop the price at $20,000. There's more to be done in this area for finding some answers here. Let's keep listening.
The analogy is certainly there, the precedent is there, and I think depending on how this case comes out, it could be very challenging for the way Ethereum is considered.
So you think Gensler could bring the case if he wins this one against Ethereum?
Again, I don't want to handicap what the SEC might do or not. I just, as a legal precedent, it would be challenging.
Yeah, interesting.
It is interesting, and it's a polite way, as Charles goes on to mention here, that basically, Chris Giancarlo is doing a very polite version of, yes, there is an issue here. Something needs to be looked into. He's trying to be respectful of the current position of the SEC commissioner. Take a listen right here to this clip where it's asked even further here about what is the state of the market. Take a listen.
I didn't interview him. That was Liz. Something in it. Really way to go there. Not my show. But I do want to ask you about just regulation in general. I mean, I think the biggest question for the novice crypto investor is what's the regulatory environment going to be for cryptocurrencies? I think there's still a lot of fear out there.
Absolutely, Cheryl. We have to start getting this right. This is not a novelty anymore. This is the future of finance. This is the future of money. This is going to affect the role of the dollar. It's going to affect the standing of American banks in the global.
Now think about what he just said there. This is the future of money. This is going to affect the dollar, the role of the banks. That's not the SEC's job, is it?
Financial markets, we have to start taking this seriously. And earlier this week,
Chris, but I want to just ask you this. We do have to take it seriously, but is the current regulatory environment up for it, or do we have to find something else, like create something else?
Yeah. Well, Charlie, earlier this week I put out actually fundamental principles for what we need to do. And the first step is this needs to move to Congress. This is not for the Biden administration, Trump administration, some other administration to willy-nilly change it every 4 years or every 8 years. We need Congress to step in and in a bipartisan, and it must be bipartisan so it stands the test of time, in a bipartisan manner, establish a regime to regulate this new development.
There's so much there.
Fundamental.
So much there.
It is so much there, but I tell you, don't forget, he said this is about the money, how it affects dollars, how it affects the banks, right? Currency. We have agencies for that. It's called the U.S. Treasury, right? It's called the Office of Comptroller of Currency as well. It's also the prudential regulators, FSOC and OFAC. Don't believe it. It's still true. I'm not suggesting that we won't see another division created, because we just saw the FBI create another criminal division for digital assets and cryptocurrencies and cybercrime, which is called NCET, right? So I'm not saying that these things won't happen, but remember, what he referenced earlier, what's going to be affected, is money and the banks and the dollar of the dollars of the world even. So that, I think, is something to keep in play here, because, you know, this reminds me of that. And, you know, ProCoin News shouted out about the first memo that was unsealed from 2014. He said, wouldn't you love to know the name of that investor from back in 2014 that was redacted right here? Founders were issuers of Ripple Labs, so Ripple Labs could be a user, not an issuer. Founders assumed risk of bringing issuers, which persists today. This protected Ripple Labs and was a key part in our first convertible note. You see that term being used? Our first convertible note. When something is a note, Gary Gensler says. Remember? Hester Persis said it too. When something is a note, and they write right here in 2014, they intentionally, I believe, use the verbiage in a key part in our first convertible note with investors like blank.
I'm your guy. I will keep you posted. I'm your advocate. I'll be back on a daily basis, usually multiple times per day, with these videos to keep you updated with everything going on. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of my videos with your friends, family, social media, or anybody who may care to listen. Thanks so much for your continued support. I'm always here for you. I want to help you through this time. So thank you so much for continuing to choose me. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you again probably in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. See you later.